Chase Claypool, wide receiver 23 in 2020. He's currently the wide receiver 29 in 2021's ADP, typically going at the end of the 5th round. Badake, this is a guy that I think we're both technically going to avoid based off of his ADP.
Correct.
And we talked about this before, but is it mainly consistency? Is that the reason?
Yeah, it's mainly consistency. And, all of these wide receivers on this team, they want to feed the ball too. Okay. Juju Smith, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and now the new guy is Najee Harris. And I just can't see anyone being consistent here in this offense. And I'm not saying Chase Claypool is not talented. I'm not saying that he is not going to be fantasy relevant for some weeks. I do believe Chase Claypool is talented and he will be fantasy relevant in the future. I just don't think this year this is a guy that I'm excited to draft.
Not a guy that you can draft at the end of the 5th. Like, that's too early, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I still think there's so many people will still be on the board. Like these are people that I have ranked around Chase Claypool. Okay, it's not exciting, but this is who I have so far. I have a Will Fuller, a Juju Smith, obviously T Higgins above him, OBJ, Michael Pittman down there in 39. So he falls into a pack where, like, I'm not excited about taking a Will Fuller. I'm not extremely excited taking an OBJ, but Chase Claypool is a guy I will take a shot on in those group of people. Yeah. So,
I think there's good and bad about Chase, right?
Yeah.
Like, the good is obviously the talent. He had 109 targets as a rookie. That's 2 less than Ceedee Lamb, by the way. He's a big body. He's obviously like the deep threat, the red zone guy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bad. And I think people are overlooking the bad. Najee Harris is the biggest reason why I'm kind of fading, I guess, Chase Claypool, right?
I completely agree.
Najee Harris enters the scene. There's no running back to compete with his targets. But what we don't realize is that the Steelers did something a little bit weird last year. Okay. Not many teams did this. They were awful in the run game. So what did they do? Let's simulate the run game by a bunch of short passes. Let's get some dump offs. Let's get our athletic guys in space. They didn't really have a run game. Their run game was operated through their 3 wide receivers because they had to do that. But personally, I expect Najee Harris to get a ton of work. And another stat that should worry you is Big Ben last year threw the 3rd most passing attempts of any quarterback. Big Ben, as old as he is, with the noodle arm, threw only 2 other quarterbacks threw more passes than him. That should worry you because there's obviously going to be a clear change in the way this offense is ran. He had 40 pass attempts last year per game. 40 pass attempts per game. I more see that coming down to around 28 to 30 pass attempts. And if you think about that over the span of an entire 17-game season, if it does come down the way I think it will,
right,
from 40 pass attempts to 28 to 30 a game, that's 204 less targets for these wide receivers. So it's hard when you spread it across all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, it's really difficult to even project them, in my opinion, to kind of be comfortable in taking them in any position. You want to take him in the late rounds, like right before you have the opportunity, at least the way I see it. The way I see it, in my opinion, is like, I'm not drafting him unless like I'm getting him super late, 10th, 11th round. That sounds crazy. You'll
probably like wait on him until the value's properly there.
And it may sound like, we're never going to get him, and that's okay, but
that's okay.
We're just not excited. And you're right, with the whole reports with Najee Harris coming out, he's going to be lined up. There are already reports saying that he's going to be lined up on the outside. They're going to include him in the passing game.
Totally.
So all that's going to affect not just Claypool's, but Deontay's and Juju's targets. So
I think like Najee being in the pass game doesn't necessarily worry me. I just think there's going to be a different offensive philosophy this year. They had to rely on Big Ben last year to win games because they had no running back. Like James Conner was trash last year. Najee Harris is a much better running back. And Big Ben, they don't want him to throw that many times. They want the defense. This is an AFC North team. Good defense, run the ball. That's who they want to be, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So there's just not enough targets. And I think the last thing I want to say about Chase Claypool, which you have talked about with all these Steeler wide receivers, is the inconsistency. Okay. There were 9 games last year where you did not want to start Chase Claypool. Okay. In 9 games where he was a kind of a dud, he averaged under 7 points. In 7 games, he was an absolute star. He averaged over 21 points. So more often than not, you actually didn't want to start Chase Claypool last year.
Not at all.
There were games he was dropping 1 point, 2 points, 3 points.
It's crazy. Like,
again, the good is he's talented and he's the red zone threat, deep zone threat, but this team's not going to throw as much as they did, I don't think. No. I don't think they should.
I think if you want some hope about Claypool, I think have hope for next year. My vision is that Juju's gone. Claypool becomes the new XY receiver. Deontay Johnson stays in the slot potentially.
But who's the quarterback?
Exactly. But who's the quarterback? We don't know, but we know that historically the Steelers do have and always will get their quarterback, their franchise quarterback. So
it's not a bad gig.
Exactly. So
Dwayne Haskins?
Hey, shout out to Tommy. He picked him up. He picked him up off of waivers, hoping for something big to happen.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch
now,
it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.